Hello, my loves. My name is Rebecca, and this is my report for Pillars of the Moon. So, welcome everyone. This is all about this full moon, which is coming up tomorrow. So, wow, really big energy. So, I'm really looking forward to diving into the chart with you all and the sky and talking a little bit about the energies of this big, powerful full moon that's coming up tomorrow. So I'm going to share a screen with you all. So let's look at the sky. This is Stellarium Web. So I think most of you know if you're on my channel, but maybe not all of you, that I use the live sky and astronomy for my readings. And yeah, I just use the sky as it really is. Western tropical astrology doesn't match the live sky. So this for me feels like the most aligned and integral way of tracking the sky and the stars and the planets and everything that's going on for us. I have found that since using these this way of doing it, everything kind of has really dropped into place for me, and yeah, I just feel complete alignment with this. So the full moon is coming up tomorrow, the 15th, and the exact time of the full moon is 21:28 on the 15th, and that's in the GMT time zone, 21:28. So this is, yeah, the live sky. So you can see in the sky at the time of the full moon, the moon is exactly on Uranus. Look here. Wow. And yeah, so this is on the cusp. You can see this red line along here is the border of Taurus stars. And you've got Aries here and Cetus the whale below here. So above we have Perseus and we have the severed head of Medusa. So you can see that the severed head of Medusa is really aligned with this full moon and Uranus here on this cusp. So I wanted to dive into that a little bit more with you all and also share a little bit more about Algol. Those of you who've been following me for a little while will know that I love talking about this star, Algol. Um, it's the head of Medusa. It's like in the third eye of the Gorgon or the serpent priestess. So a lot has been coming through for me actually on the build up to this full moon around this energy in Medusa. And yeah, it's been bringing a lot up to the surface around like persecution and fear of power, so that could be really like especially connected to the feminine, So I wanted to read before I jump into it even more, just a little bit about what Bernadette Brady shares in her book, The Fixed Stars. So she's got a whole load of stuff about Algol. I'm just going to read little slices of it. So what she's written is Algol embodies everything that men feared in the feminine. She is not the mother face of the goddess, but rather the passionate lover or whore. She is the female Kundalini energy. Algol is the wild, raw, frightening face of the outraged feminine, which has been labeled as demonic or simply evil. This star seems to contain immense female passion and power. It is the power of the feminine or the potential power of Mother Nature, not to be called evil for being strong. She's also written that Albert Einstein had Algol culminating with his Jupiter on the day that he was born. And he's remembered for his great work in unleashing the power of the atom. And the power itself is not evil, but when it is expressed itself through the bombings in Japan, then we saw the destructive power of Algol. So whichever planets it's affecting in our own chart will be charged with a strong, intense sexual energy that has the power to be wonderful, or if it's repressed, leads to rage and violence. So, wow. So that's what Bernadette Brady says about Algol, and I was in bed the other night and I was just tuning into this energy of Medusa and her head. And I was like, oh my gosh, she has serpents in her hair. It's like the Kundalini, we know that the Kundalini comes up through our body. So if it's coming out of her head in her hair, it's like she is completely awakened woman, and she's also connected to Lilith and the sovereign power of the feminine and the awakened feminine with this Kundalini that's risen and awakened to come out through her crown of her head. It's like she is completely connected to source and her power. And so, as we know in the story, that power was beheaded. Perseus is proudly holding her head in the stars for us all to see. But through the cutting of her neck, her child Pegasus was born, and we can see the flying horse who's just next to her in the sky here. And this beautiful white flying horse, Pegasus, is born through her death. So she lives on. And what I've been feeling, around this energy, it's because when we think about the snakes and the serpent energy, it really is the helixes of our own DNA, and how I feel, is connected to our DNA and our blood and the power of the feminine, and the blood of the feminine and the menstruation and the cycles and the death, she's also connected to this very destructive energy. But like it says in Bernadette Brady's book, this great power can be wonderful as well. This energy can be ecstatic and awakening and revolutionary. But if it's repressed or directed in the wrong way, it can create great violence and rage. She is enraged. She was beheaded. So all of that feminine rage also lives here. That rage can be channeled into passion, it can be channeled into projects and beauty, but it can also be an incredibly destructive force as well. So with this moon aligning to Uranus and the head of Medusa, I'm really feeling like we got to be really steady tomorrow. Like try to, just, sudden changes, shifts in our emotions. Things could be very erratic. We could have unexpected changes to plans coming tomorrow. There could be, unexpected eruptions of this feminine rage or this anger that comes up to the surface. There could be real, just shifts and turns that we didn't see coming. So this energy, it makes me feel like that we really need to, and I really need to, we all really need to just be aware tomorrow that this moon is coming aligned to Uranus. And Uranus has this awakening energy that kind of shakes us out of our comfort zone and wakes us up, So I feel like tomorrow, the weather might be very violent or, destructive. There might be storms and weather stuff going on. Because also, like Bernadette Brady says, it's like the power of the feminine can be connected to weather as well, and that destructive force of the weather. So yeah, it's just feels like a really big energy in itself, just this. And then obviously we have the rest of the chart as well going on. Saturn is also just gone direct as well at this time. So we're going to be feeling a shift with the Saturn energy. He has been rejuvenated in the fountain of youth of Aquarius. He's returned to the lady of the lake. He has, been renewed and hopefully had a few revelations around the structures that he has been building. And then as well in this cycle, Pluto is going to crossover into Capricorn borders, which I spoke about in the new moon report. So he will, this is Pluto right back here. Yeah, but is on the border of Sagittarius and Capricorn at the moment and will shift a degree in the next week. I can't remember the exact date. I'll have to find out. But this is also going to have a big impact on the rest of this cycle. So Pluto moving into Capricorn is going to really bring endings of old cycles in terms of the old structures and systems, and the patriarchy and authority. It's also going to bring an element of transformation and change around our connection to the old. You know, we could be seeing a lot of, yeah, like the old times, like the old ways of tracking time and systems of like, yeah, mapping time. We could be seeing like a big shift and a change around time, calendars, systems and structures around, you know, um, yeah, like churches and establishments, universities, um, law, governance. You know, I really see Pluto going into Capricorn as really kind of shaking up all that is hidden within and under the surface and digging down to the truth and clearing away all of that which isn't working. So it's going to be, you know, a period of time, which is, you know, many, many years. How many years? Was it like 12 years, 15 years? I can't remember off the top of my head. But it's a long transit through Capricorn, you know, and many kind of Western astrologers are all like, whoa, Pluto into Aquarius. You know, we can see in the sky here, Pluto is nowhere near Aquarius yet. He's just moving into Capricorn. So it's a journey, you know, and there's going to be a lot of changes coming over the next few years. So all of you that have got planets in Capricorn or your sun in Capricorn, you could be, you know, seeing lots of big changes, lots of endings of old cycles, and Pluto is going to bring, yeah, lots of power stuff, lots of stuff around control. So yeah, going to be an interesting journey, that's for sure. I've got quite a few planets in Capricorn, so we'll see how that goes. I'll let you know. Um, yes, what else did I want to share about? So Mars is in Cancer as well. So Mars is still in opposition to Pluto, although it's not so tight now. But um, the Mars energy in Cancer, you know, I've seen a few astrologers say, oh, Mars is not very powerful in Cancer. But I like to disagree with that because I find, for me, from my own experience and other people that I've spoken to, the Mars energy in Cancer is just very dynamic at home. You know, so in the kind of world that we live in, that's very driven on, you know, money and achieving things and doing things and productivity. You know, the Mars energy in Cancer, it's like he directs that energy into the home and the family and the children and the cooking and the cleaning. So there's just a redirection of energy with the Mars. Mars does, I don't feel like he gets weaker in the Cancer energy. He just redirects his energy that some people may see as being weaker, you know, like a father that takes care of his children instead of, you know, doing the work and bringing in the money. Like it's like that to me shows great strength, you know, and like I felt like a lot of dynamic energy, especially as the moon moved into Aries, of like I got so much done in the garden yesterday and I was just feeling really dynamic. So I feel like the Mars energy can be channeled in a really productive way it within, you know, our family units and within like the realms of the domestic kind of mothering realms. So you may be feeling that energy too. And the sun we can see is still in Libra. So there's a lot coming up around balancing of our hearts and our feelings and um, to create a more sense of harmony within our relationships. Mercury is in the Scorpio or Fucus area of the sky. So Mercury in a Fucus is the messenger of the gods, connected to, yeah, the other realms, really, like the shaman or the medicine woman, medicine man, kind of like connecting to, yeah, beyond the veil, like altered realities. And Venus is in Sagittarius. This always reminds me of like the Archer energy or Artemis of the Venus, kind of like Diana, like with like the Huntress energy. I really love Venus in Sagittarius. I really enjoy that energy. It's very passionate, very expansive, feminine vision. Now we can feel like we're in the chariot. Yeah. Woo, so much creative energy and yeah, really passionate and driven with that vibe. So yeah, I think that's all I wanted to share with the live sky. So I'm going to go into the chart for you. So we can see we've got the moon at 0 degrees of Taurus and Uranus is just in retrograde at 1 degree. So I've already shared about Algol and where it is, but let's look at, what else we've got going on. So this full moon will be in trine to Pluto and Ceres. So there's an energy here of Pluto is really influencing this full moon and bringing this element of transformation and change. It feels as well like it could be bringing real kind of radical with Uranus, unexpected endings of cycles and change. Maybe, things will be breaking down or yeah, I can just because Pluto can bring like endings of things, but also yeah, culminations of cycles, completion of um the old patterns. And Pluto is, preparing to move over into Capricorn. So Pluto is completing Sagittarius, Pluto is completing a cycle of Sagittarius, so moving all that Pluto has learned, it's kind of like this revolutionary in trine to Uranus, it's a revolutionary change, that Pluto here is like beholding the wisdom of the cosmos, the expansion and the infiniteness that goes beyond, this physical reality here, but like I feel conjoined with Ceres, Ceres symbol of cycles and the seasons of nature and the feminine. It's like feels like the cycle of the cosmos. Like Pluto connected to Ceres is like can see the cosmic order of things. So preparing to go into Capricorn and like a big I don't know what to call it, like a demolition man going into Capricorn, like, right, what do we need to do in here then, fellas? Like, let's dig it all up. And like, it's like a real kind of, but he's in Sagittarius where he is with Ceres now. It's like there's a deep wisdom here of the seasons and the cycles of the cosmic order and the necessity of change, that he will bring, as he's moving through Capricorn stars. And Saturn, like I was talking about here, in like the holy grail of Aquarius, now gone direct. Look, the time of this full moon is going direct. And so he's been cleansed in the waters. Saturn is the ruler of Capricorn, but Saturn isn't in Capricorn now. Saturn is in Aquarius. Saturn is revolutionizing structures. So we've been seeing a lot during this transit around AI, artificial intelligence, structures coming into our devices, our phones, and there's been a lot of kind of structures being formed that are more humanitarian. There's been like, yeah, new visions. Like Saturn is receiving from the Aquarian energy. He's returned to the lady, he's returned to source. She's given him download. So he's moving forward now. And next May, Saturn will be with Neptune and they'll be joining together in Pisces. So I just wanted to jump back into the live sky because I just wanted to show you that because there's something exciting. Let's go to May next year. It was around the 4th or the 5th. Let's look at Saturn. Look at this. We've got Ceres again, Saturn, Neptune, Venus, and this is like, that's a beautiful alignment that day, the 5th of the 5th. And Saturn will be coming into exact alignment with Neptune. Let's go a bit faster. A little bit more. That's in July. So coming into like May, June, and July, we've got this energy of Saturn and Neptune unifying in the stars. And what does that mean? It's, going to be aligned to the North Node as well. We've got the North Node of the moon there. Like, it's like creating structures of our dreams and our visions. And it's like spiritual schools and, yeah, foundations and communities around this spirituality. We could be seeing a lot of, yeah, spiritual schools being made, in after Saturn's journey through Aquarius. I feel like Saturn has got more awareness of the collective. Saturn in Capricorn was very patriarchal, very productive, very like money centered and achieving things. When he's gone through Aquarius, it's like recentering on the collective, the community, humanity. So coming into next year, May, June, July, we've got this energy of them coming together, and there is this unifying of all of this energy to build things and achieve things and grow things, and connecting it to the spiritual aspect of Neptune. So all of the dreams and the visions and the the castles and the temples in the sky that we've been visioning, next year there's a real opportunity to start building those things. So coming back to now and where we're at now, and Saturn coming out of his retrograde around the time of this full moon, with this radical full moon, conjoined with in trine to Pluto, I feel like there's a lot of change coming around this full moon. I really invite us to embrace our Aquarian energy, like our uniqueness, to, wear something funky tomorrow and be a bit out the box, like break free from, the limitations of the shackles, that's been holding us back, and connected to Algol as well. Like, like Bernadette Brady has shared, there is a real, this energy has the potential to be wonderful, so what is the wonder? What is the wonderment of Algol at her best? It's Shakti, life force, Kundalini, ecstasy. It's so expressive and expansive and, yeah, sensual. So maybe this is an opportunity, with these energies to really work with this, to get out of our comfort zone, because Uranus will do that to us anyway. So it's like Uranus is going to like give us some unexpected twists and turns. But if we're working with that energy consciously, we can say, okay, what can I do differently today? How can I bring my uniqueness to the table and really, show that part of me? This is the full expression of this cycle, you know. And with the Mars energy in opposition to Pluto still, I mean, it's bringing a lot of conflict, and we're definitely seeing that, aren't we, in the world? And but the Mars energy, I was talking about him, I was talking about him earlier, like the Mars in Cancer energy is very like home focused, about the hearth and the home and creating safety and security within our feelings and our emotions, and Mars is in trine to the North Node in Pisces, so the more that we're creating this sanctuary within our home, within creating this safe place for ourselves, we are moving towards, our collective destiny, that the masculine energy needs to come home. It needs to tend to the hearth and the family. And there's a returning of that, of like this productivity of, support and nurturing and care, which is also, reflected in Ceres in trine to this full moon. So how can we take more care of our home, of our family, of our community? Saturn in Aquarius moving forward. He has the vision now, and he's coming towards Neptune. He's like, come on, we got to meet up. I've got some stuff to tell you. We've got some temples to build. And so Chiron in Pisces is in trine to Mercury as well. So Mercury is um, close to the galactic center. He's in a Fucus at the time of this full moon. And like I was saying, there's an energy of the doctor, the healer, the shaman, the medicine woman, medicine man, very connected to the herbs and making medicine from the brokenness. So in trine to Chiron, this is collective healing. So we could be feeling like some of us may be working with herbs, plants, nature, the healing of healing through medicine, but medicine that's organic, so Mercury being connected to the galactic center, very close to, the galactic center, coming into this energy of awakening through plants, through medicine, through nature. It's very like the Ophiuchian energy is very organic and connected to, the earth and the nature that's here, and how that can allow us to expand into the cosmos, because everything is connected, and how even every flower has got geometry in it, and the patterns within the water, and everything is like cosmic, really. And we are that too, we are cosmic too. So the Mercury energy is really working towards healing. We could be seeing a lot, moving through us of like what plants would benefit me, or what could I do to bring healing, and also connecting to that within the community as well. Um, so the Black Moon Lilith is with Juno in Virgo, and they're making this T square, a big lesson, a big challenge that's coming through the energy of Mars and Pluto and Ceres. So I feel like what this energy is, it's like there's a commitment with Juno to, it's like we can feel really committed or rigid in this way that we, with the Virgo energy, have to have things perfect or get all the details right, or the dark feminine energy of Lilith is like very critical of the way things are, very kind of like the Virgo energy having to be precise, and so there's like with Juno there's a real commitment to this precision and this strategy of the way that things are supposed to be in the order of things, and so we could find with this Pluto and Mars opposition, there's this, it feels like a cosmic order with Pluto and Ceres, and can see the bigger cycles of things, and see why the changes are happening, see, the power of Algol and the power of the feminine and the power of change, and how it's connected to our evolution, but in opposition to Mars, it could be bringing up a lot of like feelings around security and safety, so Black Moon Lilith, who's in this T square here, feels like a lot of challenge around like feeling quite stuck or rigid in the way that things have to be done. and how when we get so stuck in the rules even, or like the cycle with the South Node of the past, and Vesta of the sacred fire, she is a priestess who's completely devoted to service. So it feels like there's a lot coming up around service and care with Ceres, the National Health Service, or like support and care, and how there could be this element with this black moon here and Juno of like really being stuck in an old service mode. Well, this is just the way that it is, and this is what we have to do within our service community realms. Like I'm thinking of like the doctors and the nurses, and how things can get kind of rigid and stuck in old forms. But then Uranus and Pluto here in this trine with Saturn moving forward in Uranus, in Aquarius, is like this energy of like radical shifts and changes that are really challenging for the Black Moon Lilith and Juno, who are kind of stuck in the past and devoted to the service and all of this. And it's kind of like there's a lot of challenging energy, with this Pluto Mars opposition, and there's a lot of conflict in energy. But I feel as well like there's also a movement towards something new. There's also a movement of breaking out of the old. And yeah, so with the Mars energy and trine to this North Node, I feel like the more dynamic energy that we can focus towards, our own home and our own community and our own sense of safety, tending to our own part of the universe. If everyone does that, not focusing so much externally, but really tending to our own hearths and sharing what we can within the community, that is moving us forward towards our destiny and what we're here to do. And also with the Mercury connected to Ophiuchus, the doctor, and Chiron, there's a lot of healing available to us through the plants, through working with the medicine of what is available to us, and I feel like, so with the energy of Libra, there's an energy of really needing to balance and come into more harmony within ourselves, and I feel because also Neptune is in trine to the sun, there's an energy of really finding a spiritual balance. We could be finding practices like yoga really useful, or meditation, to find a more sense of balance, to find a sense of harmony inside, and tending to our own emotional center. And if everyone was doing that, the world would be so different, you know but the thing is, with the energy of Algol and Uranus being here, there's a lot of repressed power in the world that is being channeled into violent and rageful, vengeful ways. So how can we all take responsibility for the community, Saturn, to use this energy in a way that is wonderful? It can be wonderful. Like this is like Kundalini awakening, Shakti. This is a fully awakened being who's like got their serpent energy rising all up their spine, all the way to the cosmos. Like that is our capacity. That is our DNA at its full power. So what can we do now, to really tend to our home and our hearth and our sanctuary within? And I feel the sun in trine to Neptune and Pisces, it's very spiritual. Like we could be finding music really soothing. We could be like, yeah, connecting to mantras and practices that, help us to find calm within our body. My like having like a beautiful music on in the background, it can really change the energy of your experience, right? I was cooking a meal last night and literally the kitchen was in absolute chaos. That's the energy of now, isn't it? And I just put on some Italian music. I've got Italian in my bloodline, and I was cooking like an Italian meal, so I put on some Italian music, and I just felt myself like completely transform into like this ecstasy and this beauty and this bliss, which is the wonderfulness of Algol. But if I focus just on the chaos, I'm just always going to be in that. But there's ways that we can transform our energy so that the chaos doesn't feel quite so chaotic, you know? And that's also the Mars in Cancer energy. There's a lot, I feel like a lot of chaos within our domestic life, within our homes, within our families, within, the four walls of our containment. Like there could be a lot of conflicts going on and a lot of battles and power dynamics happening within relationships, you know. But allowing this Uranian energy to shake us out of our comfort zone. Sometimes it can feel like a rug is pulled from underneath our feet, but there's great gifts that come with the change as well. It's like, and I just keep receiving this message of Saturn and Neptune coming together next year. Like there's a real opportunity here for really building those structures of our dreams. But we have to shake out of a lot of the old. And this is the Pluto moving through Capricorn as well. There's going to be a lot of change happening within, the systems that have been supporting us for so many years, right? But is it really support or is it entrapment? So I feel like there's also an energy of like a bird in a cage that's been in a cage for so long, and then you open the door and it's forgotten how to fly, because it's just been in a cage and fed for so long, and so there's a real, for that bird to actually fly out of the cage, it takes so much bravery, right? And it's completely shaking us out of our comfort zone, but it doesn't mean the bird can't fly. It's like we are like that bird, that we can fly. We just have to remember that we can open the door at any time and reconnect to our soul and awaken our Kundalini serpents, to feel that is the pathway of our evolution. That is our collective destiny, I feel, at least. But there's a lot of change that's happening within us all right now. So, yes, is there anything else I wanted to share? I haven't got the last quarter moon chart come up, have I? I didn't do that. Let's see if I can just open it up for you now. I might be able to. Uh, when's the last quarter moon? Here we go. I did it. Last quarter moon is in Leo on the 23rd of the 11th at 1:27 GMT. Mars is still in Cancer, look. And we've got the moon in Leo. So by this point, Pluto has crossed over into Capricorn, and we've got 0 degrees here. And any other changes? At that point, no, there's no other changes at that point. But the last quarter moon, we've got Mars, who's enshrined to the North Node still, and making this trine to the Sun in Libra, but it's on the cusp of Scorpio. Like it's really close to being in Scorpio by that point. And yeah, so that's a grand trine there happening with the Sun, Mars, and Neptune and the North Node. And then we've got another energy coming in from Uranus, and Pluto is still trining. So there's a really kind of, I feel like by the time we get to the waning of this cycle, we're coming into this Leo last quarter moon. It's kind of like, you know how I was saying about wearing funky clothes or being a bit more radical and out there and just tuning into our unique soul essence. You know, we could be, as we're coming down into the descending energy of the cycle, you know, we're going to cross over Mars, who's in like the beautiful, nurturing mother's arms. You know, so there's a real kind of coming home feeling, you know, as this cycle is culminating, and bringing all this creative energy, you know, into, because the descending of the cycle is like the wrapping up of the cycle. So it's like we're starting to, all of the stuff that's going to come up to the surface at this full moon here, you know, we're starting to harvest the wisdom of the cycle. So what we might get out of this cycle as it's culminating is there might be a new part of us that's expressing that we might have kind of, it might come up to the surface at this full moon. And then the cycle is waning away, and then the energy is coming home. So we're meeting with Mars, and then we've got the moon in Leo. So it's a very kind of creative time. So we may be feeling about, you know, doing some creative things, but it might be more within the home environment, you know, within um, making art or crafts at home, or making decorations to go around the house, or writing and tending to some kind of expression, some project that we might be working on that might be quite radical and different, you know. And so with the Libran energy, which is coming into Scorpio at this point, you know, there is, you know, with this time of year, especially for those of us in the northern hemisphere, as well as we're descending into winter, you know, there's a lot of grief that can be coming up to the surface. There's a lot of releasing and letting go of the old as the leaves are falling, and the cycle is turning. And, you know, we could be finding that with all of this letting go and this releasing of old cycles, you know, that we are then finding the gifts that are nestled deep within, and kind of starting to tend to this new part of us, this new part of us that's being molded and grown within, you know. And so I do feel as well that by, you know, the time that the last quarter moon is coming, that Mercury is still in this trine to Chiron, you know, so, and is still in a Fucus, right, you know, at the galactic center still. So there's an energy of like really connecting to source, connecting to the beyond the veil, you know, and also using that wisdom for healing. You know, we might be finding that we're connecting to our ancestors and our lineage, and there's great healing that comes through that. You know, I was in bed with my beautiful daughter the other night, and she saw one of our ancestors. She saw the spirit, and she said, "That's my grandma." And we both was like, wow. And we was communicating around it, and how much healing that brought, you know. And it's so beautiful, like this time of year, even though, you know, a lot of us may be feeling grief and letting go, and the old layers that are releasing, but there's also this great healing that comes with that too. So after that, we will be having a new moon in a Fucus, and I can't remember the exact date of that, but I'm going to leave it there for today. So I'm going to stop sharing that one now. And yeah, so expect the unexpected, expect the radical. Let's shake it up, wake it up, and really find these magical parts of us that are yet to be tended, and take them into the womb of the winter with us. So yes, many blessings on this Uranian Algol full moon. And yeah, sending you loads of love. And I'll see you at the new moon. Ciao, ciao.